And here we are.
Are we?
Yep, we are live.
Are we here?
We are live
though?
indeed.
Oh my god, I think we are. Loading stream. We're fucking live.
Yep.
Oh, shit.
Playing an ad.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, we totally
This is
sold out.
fancy. So you're replaying the ads then?
No, I'm not. I think that's an auto ad.
I don't have any ads besides ad block, fuck you.
Yeah, it doesn't play it if you have ad block.
Are we delayed?
No, we're not, as far as I know.
Because I just see ads playing.
So,
Oh, well, hi everybody. We're
Hello.
still trying to figure this out, so we don't really know what we're doing. This is all new to us, this hitbox stuff.
Yeah, I know. But, yeah, we are right here.
Are we? Are we right here?
I think
Can
so.
you confirm that we are right here?
King of Pole verified it, so I'd say it's good.
Hey-yo!
Hey, yo. Alright.
So edgy.
Oh, I don't think we're that delayed.
Yeah, 3 edgy 69, or 420 edgy 69 me.
So, how's everybody doing tonight? I just checked the audio, we're not delayed, so, we're maybe 5 to 10 seconds delayed. Everybody doing tonight?
Oh, that's not bad.
That's not too bad at all.
So as people learned last night, we're just going to rehash it again here real quick. Serbs and Sour are kill. They are no longer with Campfire. They are, well, again, we won't, if you're curious, you can ask them. Everything ended on great terms. We wish them all the best in all of their endeavors, including boy pussies.
Yeah, well, I don't wish the best on War Machine because he's a faggot, and I hope that he drops one of his resin figures and it breaks, and it's really hard to glue back together.
Do those things hurt just as much as Legos to step on?
No, you just crush them.
Oh, well, shit. Never mind.
Yeah, they're not what you'd call, what's the word?
Durable?
They're not exactly strong. They're not durable. They're not meant for children, so, well, yeah, no, they're not meant for children, so if you were to eat one, you'd probably die as well.
Yeah. I can't imagine pumping your stomach full of, with the resin out of it would be, good either. I mean, for
Looks
real.
like goo. Yes.
And we've got 11 people watching, so that's good.
13 says me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so guys, welcome to the campfire. We're trying out Hitbox. It seems like it's going pretty good so far. It looks like a lot less AIDS than YouTube, which is great.
Oh, God, yeah.
And
YouTube is the AIDS when it comes to live streaming.
it just doesn't look nice. The interaction isn't great. Everything about it just isn't great. The only thing it does better is watching videos because, they've sunk in, like 2, 3, 4, $10 billion into that fucking thing.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
Have you ever actually streamed anything on yourself on YouTube Pigeon?
Oh, fuck no.
Well, let me give you a little bit of insight into the back end of it compared to the way, say, Hitbox or even Twitch does it. The way YouTube does it is it's hard to set up an impromptu live stream. Like on Twitch, you can do it absolutely impromptu. Just say, hey, I'm streaming right now, let's do it. YouTube, you damn near have to have it set up beforehand because it is a lot harder to do it just off the cuff and start a live stream whenever. Because once you do that, you have to go into a separate page to get your stream key, and then you have to, put it on the video. You have to set the broadcast delay. You have to do a whole lot of stuff before and then, not only that, you have to preview it before it goes live. And then you can finally go live.
That doesn't sound fun.
It's not.
The thing is that, like, the only way it's slightly better is that if you're lazy and you want to do it just through Google Hangouts, it's super easy in comparison to, setting up OBS or something. But in terms of, like, the amount of effort you put in, it's just so much more worth it to do it through OBS and everything. Google Hangouts is, like, a really simple solution, but it just doesn't feel nice.
It doesn't have the reach that YouTube does comparatively either.
Well, no, you can stream it onto YouTube, right?
You can, and Code's done that before too. But even through this, I have a dashboard, I can look at the chat, I can post things to social media, whereas through YouTube, I have to go through and open up several windows to do that. It basically just streamlines the amount of work on the tech side I have to do it through a streaming service versus having to do it through, say, not Hitbox, but through YouTube or even Hangouts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and YouTube's just shit. I mean, like, I don't know, Jerry, I know, definitely typed in the chat a lot on YouTube, and every time you hit enter, there was like a 5-second pause before it would send, and it was fucking obnoxious.
That is obnoxious. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, enough talking about fucking YouTube and OBS and Google Hangouts and all that aids. So, what do we want to talk about first, guys? We've got a few topics. Does anyone want to go first?
Well, I want to talk to you about how much you suck for thinking the host sucked. I thoroughly enjoyed that movie.
I don't know, like, it wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen. Some of the concepts were neat, but it kind of felt like Daybreakers minus the good writing in a lot of ways.
I mean, the acting was pretty terrible, though. Like, I'll give you that one, right? The
I
acting
didn't even
wasn't
think
the
that
best.
the acting was awful. Like, I think that was the point, is that the girl was supposed to be like an alien or something. I'm not even sure anymore. But yeah, though I like the justification in order to get two guys interested in the same girl is that there was two girls in one girl. It was so really bizarre.
No, it was actually nothing like Twilight. I mean, well, that's unfair because I guess you're right? They got two guys interested in one girl instead of one being. Well, no, I guess it's reversed, right? Instead of one being a werewolf and one being a vampire, it was a girl was a human and an alien.
Yeah, it was strange, and I just didn't like the way it handled a lot of things, especially the ending. I mean, I'm gonna try and not say any spoilers, but it felt like the entire movie revolved around, it turns out we can live peacefully together with love. Love and kindness. That is how we do it, guys. That's how we stop the alien takeover. It's love and kindness. It's like, surely the aliens would have been able to fucking figure this out and tell the humans, and then they wouldn't have had some war or something, which you hear nothing about. It's just kind of assume that they've already taken over the planet somehow, yet there's no real use of weaponry in any real extent. I know, it was strange. Like, it felt like there was a lot of plot holes and a lot of things that were kind of missing in it that were way too interesting to just overlook, which they did. It wasn't as bad. It wasn't nearly as bad as Twilight, but that's like comparing diarrhea to dog shit a lot of the time. It's, you know, it's not exactly a recommendation to say, well, it wasn't as bad as Twilight. Well, yeah. Yeah, well, the Holocaust wasn't as bad as Pol Pot's attempt at genocide, but it doesn't mean it was good.
I still enjoyed it. I don't. Maybe it makes me a bad person.
Now, compared it to the Holocaust, actually.
We're not
Yes.
denying it. We're just saying it was not as bad as some other.
Oh,
Wait,
fuck
that
you. No,
sounds
no,
fucking terrible.
no.
Let's stop.
Stop.
We're gonna stop there.
Are they hearing you, by the way, Jerry? Because Adam in chat says that he can't hear you.
That was the problem. There we go.
You fucking idiot.
Oh, shut up. But it will be on the podcast, which will be going up tomorrow, because we're actually recording this in two places, not just on here, but we're recording it through a piece of audio capture software that I have. So this will be going up on iTunes as a podcast now as well,
and YouTube, obviously,
and YouTube.
Abdi.
But yeah, Ed. So did you not watch The Host, Jerry?
I didn't, but that's because I decided to sleep in all day today, which was I admit that is totally my fault. I actually went to bed earlier last night, but still didn't wake up till 6 p.m.
What?
Yeah, what? I was like, what the? Why is it 6?
Why were you in a coma? What did you do?
I don't know. I really don't, because I normally go to bed about 3 and I wake up about 10 or 11 o'clock. But today, for some reason, I went to bed at like 3, 4 in the morning, which is normal for me. And then I woke up at like 6 p.m. I'm like, what the shit is going on here?
You're fucking lucky.
Seriously.
I wish I knew what that felt like.
It's not good. It's not good. You feel like absolute ass when you wake up that late.
Oh, I know.
Have you ever had that?
You feel lethargic.
Have you ever had that moment where you just like, you wake up and it's like maybe 20, 30 minutes before you actually need to get up. You figure, it's just 10 minutes. I'll sleep in 10 minutes. And then you wake up 10 minutes later and you just feel like a complete idiot. Or not an idiot, but just so bad comparatively to when you did it earlier.
Yeah, it's strange. The human body's dumb. So, you didn't watch the fucking movie. I am disappointed in you that I had to suffer through it alone.
I will watch it, though. So you don't have to suffer through it alone.
Yeah, well, I think that's your punishment, is you should have to watch The Host.
Oh.
Dear God.
If you've got a site...
I enjoyed it. You know what, guys? It was better than that fucking American... What the fuck was that stupid horror movie you had me watch? That wannabe zombie movie?
Which one?
Which one we had? We watched
Quarantine.
Quarantine was horrible.
Quarantine.
It wasn't better. It wasn't better than Quarantine. Quarantine wasn't good, but it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it was.
They didn't solve problems through the power of love. Okay.
What's wrong with that? Maybe you should be more loving and accepting.
I know, like, the entire point of the movie at the end was, like, there was supposed to be a sacrifice, and then all of a sudden there was a really convenient plot point, so it's like, oh no, there didn't have to be any sacrifice, we get the best of both worlds, yay, everyone's happy! Really? Really? It felt like that was just done, like, added in at the end, because the test audience were like, we did want to see that person sacrifice themselves.
Imagine if War of the Worlds ended that way.
Yeah.
Like, they were defeated instead of through a common Earth virus, which, hey, that can be kind of explained because they've never been here, versus through the power of love, the aliens were defeated.
Yeah.
You know what? Fuck you guys. I'm just gonna say it.
The worst bit was that it wasn't even defeated. Like, the movie was just kind of left on a hanger of, well, things are better, I guess, but the aliens are still in control of the world. It's like, well, what happened? I spent 2 hours watching this fucking movie, so nothing actually got achieved.
Does that mean that we have to read the book now? To see if it's the actual ending?
Yeah, my wife's read it. I can ask her. I don't really care enough. I didn't care enough to
Yeah, then you just watched if she read the book, then that's confirmed. You just watched a Stephanie Meyer movie and enjoyed it.
Yep. It was the power of love. The virus that killed the aliens was the HIV.
Well, I enjoyed it. I don't care. I don't care who the writer was. I don't care any. I like a movie. I like Transformers. Everybody in the world tells me it's like the worst movie ever. The acting's terrible. The writing's terrible. I don't care. It's giant robots who beat the fuck out of each other. There is nothing to dislike about that.
Well,
I would disagree.
I mean, if you want to watch a movie for where robots beat each other up, yeah, you watch Transformers, but I didn't go to Transformers to see that. I went to see if it had an actual plot like the old show did. Why
do you care? Nobody, even as a kid, you didn't watch.
3 fucking hours long. Every movie is so long, and yet nobody's quite sure what's ever going on.
Robots beating each other up. That's what's going on.
Pacific Rim did a better job of that. I love Pacific Rim. I know Serbs will say he hates it, but you don't go to Pacific Rim for the plot. You go to watch robots beat the shit out of monsters, which they did, and it absolutely delivered on that. Although
watch Blade Runner, yes.
Although Charlie Day was an odd choice for, scientist.
Yeah, it was a bit strange.
I have bad taste in movies. I guess.
You really do.
I'm okay with that. I don't watch very many movies. And the ones I like what I like. You know what? You like 20% cock, I like 100% vagina and bad movies. Take your
I
pick.
bet that you're gonna love 50 Shades of Grey, the movie. I bet you'll love it.
Well, I mean, if
You
Emma
think so?
Watson's in that, I think I'm gonna like it, even though I've
Wait,
heard
she's in it?
she was supposed to be in it, as far as I
Did
heard.
she get raped,
I mean,
or
I
did
don't
she
know.
rape somebody? Isn't 50 Shades of Grey about rape of some sort?
That's just called 50 Shades of
it's all
Grey.
pretty rapey.
Yeah, I mean,
It's all
seriously.
pretty rapey, yeah.
So, I mean, if it's Emma Watson getting raped, then I might
I
watch
don't
that.
think that's. I don't. Is she starring in that movie?
I think she's supposed to be.
Is she? I didn't fucking know this.
I mean, I'd watch it. If Emma Watson's in it and she's getting naked, totally.
I don't think she'll get naked. I don't. I really because I just don't see that happening for 50 Shades of Grey. I feel like it would have to be something far bigger than 50 Shades of Grey.
She's probably just going to be the one, in bondage gear and stuff like that, just...
Well, that's the problem with 50 Shades of Grey, so that the entire premise of the fucking movie is based around a weak-willed woman signing herself away to an overly controlling, semi-rapey bastard who's rich, so he can do this. I don't know, everything about it just feels wrong.
It does,
And
and
yet,
it's weird. And
Everyone loves it. It's great.
yeah. I mean,
Well, I
I'll
say
watch it.
everyone loves it. Sorry?
I'll watch it, I guess. If they're making a movie, I'll watch it.
Well, of course you will, because then, you'll take your wife to go see it, and then you'll get laid.
Exactly.
get a blowjob.
Now you're getting it. Now you're getting it.
Well, I mean,
So,
because
go ahead.
no, because remember in the South Park musicals episode, why do guys take women in
Yeah.
musicals? The musicals are just engineered to make them give guys blowjobs.
It works.
And it's like the secret of everything, and who's in it at the end of that episode?
It's Randy's daughter and her kind of quote unquote date. Randy was the writer. It had Andrew Lloyd Webber and a
That's
bunch
it.
of other people, a bunch of other famous musical writers in it.
Yeah, that was a good episode.
So
But yeah,
here's the thing. I actually brought my wife to a musical. It was the chorus line, and I was dreading it, and I brought her just because it had been a little while since I'd gotten a blowjob. So I was like, yeah, we'll go to a musical. I'll get my dick sucked. It'll be good. Turns out, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was fucking hilarious. If there was a musical, I would say a guy could go and enjoy. It would be the chorus line because they sing about tits and ass. There's literally a song called "Tits and Ass."
there are good musicals. That's
Yeah.
the thing. I think most people write them off as being incredibly Les Miserables or things like that. There's a lot of good musicals.
Like fucking Cats. Oh God.
I wouldn't go watch that.
No, I wouldn't
don't.
either.
I'm not that much of a fairy, to be honest.
Yeah, I wouldn't
don't
watch
do
Cats.
that.
But I did enjoy the chorus line. So, for what
I
it's worth.
enjoyed Blood Brothers. Seeing that was pretty awesome.
You know what else is really good in person?
What?
As you said, Blood Brothers. Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, that's a great musical.
Wait, we
Fucking
enjoy,
wonderful.
we enjoy musicals. Does that confirm that we're all gay now?
Well, I mean, Pigeon's at least 20%. So, I mean, we have to confirm you and I. I don't know. Have
Yeah.
you ever?
So
put a
we
dick
so
in
we
your ass?
so we've got to put our dicks in each other's butts, and if we like it, then we're gay. If we don't, we're still straight. Isn't that the way it works?
I think that's the way it works.
Okay. Pigeon, can you confirm that methodological technique?
Wait, what?
To confirm that
Did
we're
I miss something?
to confirm that me and Code are gay or not gay, we have to put our dicks in each other's butts, and if we enjoy it, then we are gay. If we don't enjoy it, then we're not.
Would you be interested in the premise of sucking a dick?
No.
Nah.
No, then you're not gay.
Ah, well, there we go.
Question from Chad, actually. Speaking of sex and Batman and bad films and being gay now, thoughts on Ben Affleck playing Batman in the next Dark Knight film?
Now we know that from Gone Girl he is hung like a donkey.
Oh,
I think it'd be pretty cool. I would enjoy it, to be honest.
I wouldn't.
Like,
I
no,
don't like
wouldn't
Ben
I?
Affleck
Really?
at all. I
I
liked
know,
him in
but-
Dogma. I will say that. He was good in Dogma.
I've heard about good things happening with the new Batman movie, so I think it's in good hands. at the same time, I've never been that huge of a fan of Batman. I know all my friends love Batman, but he's never been the most an interesting superhero to me.
At least he's less gay than Robin.
Yeah, seriously. Well, I mean, I think even Chris O'Donnell did a good job as Robin in Batman Forever. Because he was the first one to play it in Batman Forever, and he did a pretty good job. Well, he did a shit job, but that's just because of the writing in Batman and Robin. But
I think so.
But I will say that there were at least enjoyable parts of Batman and Robin, because it was a really like campy Batman movie, which we'd been missing for a long time.
Yeah, I know. I didn't mind those Batman films, to be honest. I quite liked Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze. I thought that was funny.
I don't know if Schwarzenegger's funny.
That was a hilarious movie. That was just... Schwarzenegger's acting was absolutely silly, and I just loved it, because his entire dialogue revolved around nothing but one-liners.
But yes, so...
Take two of these and call me in the morning.
I enjoyed all that. Plus, Mr. Freeze in general seemed like a really sad character in reality.
He is!
Like, what was the entire point of his character becoming a villain?
Mr. Freeze was... his wife was... she had a disease, and in the movie they called it McGregor syndrome, and I think that's the actual... the name of it in the comic book as well. I'd have to... Please verify me on that. But to keep her alive, they had to put her in a sort of cryostasis, and as it turns out, Victor Freeze had come down with it as well. So now he's looking at a way to basically cure her disease and be able to move around, so he put on the freeze suit, and he is going to get that cure in whatever way possible. But one of the things a cure always needs is money.
Yeah, that sounds like a really depressing supervillain, like, in terms of all the other ones.
He is, because the Joker's just nothing but anarchy. I mean, Mr. Freeze has a very justified reason for his... I hate to say it, but he has a very justified reason to be evil.
I was just going to say, you know what, you say depressing, but villains like that, in my opinion, make the best villains, right? The best villains are the ones that are just evil enough that you know they're a villain, but they're also not evil enough that you can also empathize with them. I always find those to be the best villains, right? Where you look at them and you go, that's kind of a dick, but I get it. You know what I mean? Like, to me, those make the best
There's
villains.
an actual reason for them being evil rather than just, oh, I'm evil.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, even the Joker supposedly had a motivational reason, but I don't think it was ever really revealed through the Bob Kane comics or even through the obviously not through the movies. I mean, in the movies, he was just portrayed as an anarchist.
Like Hitler was an awful villain because he's the hero.
Oh God Almighty!
Oh, God.
Are we starting down that route already?
It's so bad.
For fuck's sake.
It is so bad.
Jesus
Sorry,
fuck!
It made me laugh because it's so terrible. I'm a terrible fucking person. I'm going to hell.
You probably are. So, what is it? Code, I heard that you had a topic that you really wanted to discuss. What was it? And explain it for everyone.
Oh, okay. I actually wanted to talk religion. And where you guys sit on a religious scale and why.
Firstly, why? What made you think of this?
I mean, to be fair, it's the holidays, right? So there's a lot of talk about God. There, you know, you flip through the channels, there's a lot of religious stuff on TV. You drive by the churches, they're all done up. You know what I mean? Like, it's just that time of the year where maybe you if you're going to ever think about God or Jesus or whatever, it would be this time of the year, right? I mean, it's fucking Jesus' birthday after all, so they say.
It's actually not. Funnily enough, they say that he was actually...
it's not. It was in, what, June or July? But anyways,
June,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, Christmas was kind of stolen off the pagans.
Yeah, I know.
And the Romans.
Yeah. It wasn't exactly a new idea. I know, in England, the thing is that Christmas isn't necessarily paired with religion that much. There's a lot of Christian people in England, but it's more of just its own holiday for the sake of being a holiday, you know?
Yeah,
There's a
it's
lot
like
of
that
people...
here, too. I mean,
Yeah, but there's a lot of people who celebrate Christmas are not even of like Christian faith. There's a lot of different types of people that celebrate Christmas. Last Christmas Day, I remember I was taking the dogs for a walk in the early afternoon because they were fat and they needed a walk because they're lazy. And I remember passing two English, like really white English guys just sitting in their car smoking weed on Christmas Day in the middle of the road. And I was thinking to myself, that's strange. And then I walked past two chic boys, like, I know, early 20s-ish. And they both smiled at me and wished me a Merry Christmas. And I was really surprised. They're actually a lot nicer than the quote-unquote English guys just getting stoned in the middle of a fucking road. It was a bit, yeah, and I don't know. It was quite strange to me. I wasn't kind of expecting that, but yeah, I don't think it's particularly, what's the word? It isn't a very religious holiday in the UK. And in terms of religion, I'm not particularly religious at all. I don't have any problem with religion per se, but for me personally, it's just not my kind of thing. I don't really see the point in it. I don't really believe in any of it. I don't know what's true and what isn't, but based on what was it? Based on everything I'd kind of I've seen, doesn't kind of point towards any specific God being right, so I'm just going to choose to believe that there probably isn't a God. And I don't think there's really much else I can say on that.
Okay. Jerry.
For those of you who don't know, I actually clearly identify as Christian. I mean, I actually do, just because, for number one, it's my university, and I was brought up in the church. Funnily enough, but at the point I am in my life, I have a very different philosophy compared to the real, like, mainstream Christianity. Because, well, Christianity is I like its ideals. If you actually read a lot of the Bible and kind of the messages and things like that, a lot of the message of the Bible is just don't be a dick to your fellow human.
It's a good message.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff in the Old Testament, it was metaphor, and a lot of the concepts that get kind of purported today are based on inaccuracies that have kept going. But as you kind of look at the Bible scholarly and start investigating, you find out a lot of the stuff in the Bible is actually a lot different than you even look at it in a historical context, and it's like, wow, all this stuff meant a lot different back then. Like adultery laws. We have changed the definition, and I mean, by we, I mean society. We have changed the definition of what that meant and the meaning of things like the Ten Commandments and whatnot, just because of, how it's brought up through the ages. Like adultery. The original reason behind that was not, don't fuck your wife because it's wrong. It was, don't fuck your wife because it was, don't fuck somebody, or don't fuck somebody else's wife because it's wrong. It was, don't fuck somebody else's wife because that's damaging their property.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, back then, banging somebody else's wife was the equivalent of stealing your neighbor's lawnmower.
Yeah. Yes. Some will tell you that's how it is today.
Yeah.
But
even then, it's just like some of the overall message of the Bible. It's like, just be nice to each other and just coexist. And that's the hardest thing to do. It's just to be nice and coexist with each other.
I find that the easiest thing to do. So do you believe in God? Or
yes,
a God?
I do.
Pigeon, you don't?
Not particularly, no.
So then, let me ask you, so do you believe when you die, you're gone? Like you're just dead, that's it? That's the end?
Pretty much everything I've kind of seen kind of leads towards that conclusion for me, yes.
Well, and the funny thing is about even the Old Testament is there's no, like, direct reference to heaven in the Old Testament, because there's one place everybody went, and that wasn't heaven. That was a place called Sheol. When Sheol translated is basically just the land of the dead.
Yeah, which then got translated to heaven. I know. But anyway,
sorta.
Jerry, do you believe there is something after this life?
I'd like to think there is. And that's why I
And
kind of believe in that, is because I like the idea of this life kind of doesn't end, that there is more to it afterward. And who's to say what it is? I mean, I have my personal philosophy, but everybody has their own kind of philosophy.
And that's where I'm at, actually, and that's why I wanted to ask: is do I feel like I want to believe, just because I don't want this to be the end, right? I don't want to die and that's it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to know in 50 years I'm not going to be able to see my daughter ever again. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I want to believe there's something past this life, whether that's fucking heaven or hell, or I just become an energy. Like, I don't really care what it is. I just choose to believe there. I want there to be something after life, because I don't want to, like, never see my kids again. You know what I mean?
And that's fair.
Yeah, I get that, but that's kind of, for me, that's the kind of main reason that I don't think it's real, or like that there is really much of a good reason to. Is it's based off a premise of fear, of not knowing what it's like to be dead. You know, we're kind of the first animals that we know of that are kind of aware of the fact that we're going to die one day. No other animal really has that ability. Like, they can kind of sense that something bad's going to happen, but they have no concept of that they're just going to die of natural causes at the very least one day. And I kind of feel that's what terrifies a lot of people, and that's what drives people towards religion a lot.
See, but I'm not afraid of death, right? I'm not afraid of dying. I'm not afraid of that unknown. And I guess maybe in a way I am, because I am afraid of knowing that in 30 or 40 years, or 50 or 60 years, I should say, I will never see my kids again. Right? So I guess in a way I'm afraid of death, but it's not so much the act of dying.
No,
It's the
yeah, no,
act
but that's the
of-
thing, is that you won't be around. Like, that's the entire point, is it's kind of like you don't want to leave a really good pie because you want to kind of stick around until the party's over, and that's kind of what life is.
Yeah.
You don't want to leave, but you don't really get that choice. Like, a good example of this for me is, do you know your great grandfather?
Do I know my great grandfather?
Or did you know your great grandfather?
No.
And you're going to be in that exact same situation in 120 years.
Well, sure, but I also did not know my grandfather.
Well, but you see what I mean? Like, after a while, you are just kind of gone. People will forget you, and that's the thing that scares people a lot, is that we all, at least for me, I kind of feel like we all are inherently meaningless. Not in the sense that there's no point to life, but no one's special. There's been people like you. There'll be people like you after you're gone. Nobody's actually that special. I just don't really. Like, for me, I'm not even sure. The concept of a life after death just seems really boring. Could you imagine being alive for an eternity, or like being conscious for an eternity? So after a while, I'm pretty sure I'd get fucking bored.
Well, but I mean,
That's why I don't like the concept of immortality, because I genuinely would get fucking bored after
well,
living.
I think, yeah, I would too. But before we go into immortality, I want to touch on pigeons. Now, this may sound fucking weird, right? And I get it, but imagine there is a fourth dimension, right? Or a fifth dimension, or a sixth dimension. And when you die, you just move on to another dimension, and you live essentially another life, right? And then you die, and then you live another life. Not like a new life, but just another life in another dimension, right? As an energy ball, or as whatever, right?
I think that's kind of...
Would that be boring? Really? Do you think that would be boring?
No, I think that's kind of going towards the concept of deism, because I know, like, the thing is you've kind of been dead for millions and billions of years already. Was it that inconvenient? At any point of not being alive, did you think to yourself, gee, this kind of sucks, I wish I could be down there? No, you weren't. You didn't exist, and you won't exist again, and you'll become a part of something that exists sometime down the line. You just won't be aware of it. Does that make sense? Like, all the atoms and molecules that make you up, they've kind of been through millions and millions of other people before you.
You're right.
So I guess you can kind of romanticize that in its own way to mean like that technically you never die, in the sense that you never truly a complete. You know, all matter does. You can't get rid of matter. It only changes form. But yeah, I wouldn't translate that to me for being alive in some sense still.
Yeah, but I'm not even talking atoms. I'm talking like you literally move on. Your conscious moves on to another dimension. Then you'll never die. You'll just get put in a new body, right? And that would.
What, and then you get hacked by North Korea or something?
So what is our life, Sony?
No, but I just don't know. I don't think that the concept of life is life is pretty much just a simulation as far as everything I understand anyway. There's a lot of research into that kind of theory that everything you see and feel is a simulation in order to keep you surviving, and that's as far as why it's there. And I don't think that's necessarily bad. It's a bit like saying that you don't know that somebody else's orange is your orange. You know, like colors might be different based on different people or whatever. Like, there's no real way of knowing. You can't really say what someone else experiences is or isn't true based off of your experiences. I know it's a very complicated topic.
It is. Okay, so then let me ask you this, because this is actually something else. You obviously then, if you don't believe in life after death and all that, you don't believe in ghosts. You don't think ghosts are real.
I don't know.
Jerry?
I'm the same way. I don't know. If I was Catholic, I would say totally they exist. Well, demons exist, but I'm not Catholic, so therefore they don't. But once again, that's a thing of I don't know.
This is where I sit. I think they do exist, but I don't think they're ghosts. I think they are. How familiar are you guys with the string theory in terms of physics and quantum physics and all that?
Kinda.
Which basically says every atom, not even every atom, like everything at the subatomic, at the fucking quantum level, is actually a string that vibrates at a certain frequency, and that's what gives things, right? And a quark is just something else. I can't think off the top of my head of another really small thing. Just the same thing vibrating at a different frequency. I happen to believe ghosts are another quote-unquote dimension where our frequencies intersect. And it's kind of like watching snow on the Playboy channel when you were 11 years old. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can just kind of make it out.
I really don't.
There's enough interference.
I don't know. At least to me, I don't really see that if I was dead and I was kind of conscious of the fact that I was dead, that I was going to move a fucking coffee table or something to kind of go, fuck you, people who are still alive.
I think
I don't
this
know.
is
that's why I said I don't think they're spirits.
I will say this. I think that is the very first time ghosts have ever been compared to scrambled porn.
Of course. Of course.
Because everybody fucking did that.
I will compare anything to porn.
Well, because that's you say that, and that kind of brought up the other topic about. Did anybody else actually watch scrambled porn when they were a kid?
I did.
Scrambled porn?
Yeah, because we used to have a channel on TV here called Channel 96, which was basically like it was called Hot Choice, but it was like Spice TV and stuff like that, where it was softcore. It was pretty much just straight porn. And since if you didn't have a cable box or you didn't order it, the channel would come in scrambled. But occasionally you could make out things that was like you could see a boob or you could see a penis or you could see a vagina and stuff like that. And if you
I watched the fuck out of scrambled porn when I was younger.
I like
Didn't you steal your dad's Playboys? Whatever you old people used to do.
Before the internet, yeah. When you grew up without the internet, you had to do things like watch scrambled porn.
I know, beat a dinosaur over the head to get that copy of Playboy back that it stole. Yeah.
You had to make do, and I had to watch scrambled porn as well. That was the funny part. I actually did.
Yes.
But
National Geographic.
I also had HBO, which had real sex and stuff like that on it.
That I always think that's quite interesting though, because don't you think that nowadays kids like it's kind of hard for kids not to find porn? Like you could kind of watch your parents like, oh look, Game of Thrones, oh look, boobs. What are they doing? Why is she crying? Why is she getting humped really violently? Huh.
Why is this?
At that? Like, you know.
Why is this bitch getting shot in the chest with a crossbow while she's getting spanked? Which, by the way, that actually did happen. Spoiler for those of you who don't watch Game of Thrones. That happened quite a while. Yes, that actually happened. Tyrion ordered Joffrey 2 prostitutes for his birthday. And Joffrey ordered one of the prostitutes to beat the other with with just some I think it was like soft cloth and stuff like that. But then he ordered to beat her ass with a fucking it was like a wooden bat. And then he was like, she just crawled up on the bed and he shot her in the chest with a fucking crossbow.
That's kind of hot.
Of course you would say that, Pigeon.
Of course.
God, that show was amazing.
Would,
I still can't wait for the next season to come back.
Is there anything you won't jerk to? Honest question.
Probably.
Is there anything that you wouldn't wank to?
Scat.
Yeah. I'm not into pee, I'm not into shit, I'm not into anything that looks particularly miserable. That's kind of why I can't watch. That's why I can't watch Game of Thrones. I get that it's a really good show, but it's just too miserable for me.
I get that.
So hypothetical, you're watching a porn and a woman naked goes to the bathroom to take a shit, and she just sits on the toilet. You don't see her shitting. She's just sitting on the toilet, straining to take a shit. Could you wank to that?
In what fucking situation
yes!
would you see that in a porno?
It's like the BTS. It's like the behind the scenes stuff. They just carry the camera with them and they walk over and you just watch her taking a shit.
Yeah, I don't think I could wank to that. No.
What if she played with herself as she was pooping?
That's even worse.
Yeah, that's just stranger.
So the answer is no.
No.
Code, what the fuck, man?
I'm just curious. I was wondering.
He's trying to define where the line is. Are you going to send a video of yourself taking a shit and jerking it and send it to Pigeon?
Yeah, I'm going to. No, to be fair, in our Skype cabal, Pigeon does like to say, "There's nothing I won't wank to." So I was curious what that line was.
Well, you say the same thing too.
That's true. My line would also be poop and vomit.
Yeah,
I don't know. If she was sitting on the toilet taking a pee and topless, and I was already really close to coming, I could probably finish.
Code, everyone. He has a water sports fetish. You are now banned from the UK.
Be right back.
Hey, I never said I had a water sport fetish. I said if I was already really close to coming, I might be able to finish if she just sat on the toilet and peed. I think I could.
Oh, God. Please tell me Pigeon actually went to go take a piss after he said that.
He might have.
That is too coincidental.
He might be going to rub one out.
Who knows? I mean, he has done that before to us.
That is true. That is true.
He's wholly admitted that he has taken a wank while he was in Skype with us.
Well, why not? If you're gonna wank, you're gonna wank.
Yeah, I give you that. I mean, I'm not gonna deny that. I haven't done it with us, but I have done it.
I haven't either. There's been a couple times I've left the Skype call to go have sex with my wife, but not wank.
That happens, though. I mean, we understand. You have somebody to wank you, so therefore, hey, go leave, get that puss, and then come back.
Exactly. Do what you gotta do. You know? I mean, and to be fair, I don't want to be gone for 5 minutes, so I actually, just go do my wife, and then I play on the computer for a couple hours before I come back. So it seems like I have stamina. Just know I'm really only doing speed for a couple minutes.
Jesus Christ. But
I just got back. What did I miss?
We talked about how you've actually done that, how you've actually wanked on Skype for us before, but you just basically mute yourself and then go wank and then come back.
Do you know what the funny thing is about this?
What's that?
What?
Every single girl I know who I've talked to on Skype and we've just hung out in a group of friends, everybody does this. No one admits it. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
Even the girls, believe it or not, guys, it happens. It's oh, well, I don't want to leave the call. That's kind of suspicious. I'm just going to mute myself and mute the call and say I'm going to walk my cat or something, and and then come back in a little while feeling a bit more relaxed.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just you don't... Because there was a checklist I had for it. I would make sure that my headset mic was turned off. I would mute my mic on
Yes.
Skype. Make sure my camera was turned off, and make sure my boom mic was unplugged.
I don't blame you. I've actually, I have once ran into like a very embarrassing issue where I muted myself and I said like I was going AFK or whatever, and I muted myself. I turned down Skype, but for whatever reason, when I muted myself using this specific headset, it rerouted the sound from my headset to just what was coming out of my computer. So
And
my
it was
output
porn.
Yep. And so my
Okay.
friend, and after a little while, I just kind of hear my friend really faintly in the background, Luke, what are you doing? And that killed my boner. That killed my boner.
Kill him. It's like, ha! Oh, and then there it just noodled.
Yep, yep.
That's awesome.
That is amazing.
That reminds me too. I don't know. I know there's a name for it, and I don't know it. How when you're watching porn in a quiet house, the porn always seems louder than it is.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so if I want to do things with my wife and my wife's sleeping or whatever, I just really gotta rub one out. Like, I'll come downstairs in the basement and I'll turn on porn, and like I'll have like one notch on my volume, and it seems like it could be heard all throughout the house, and my neighbor could hear it. You know what I mean?
This is why I use headphones.
Yeah, but then that you get into the problem of you can't hear the outside world in case someone's going to come and like say hello or whatever if they woken up in the middle of the night. So it's that catch-22.
This is why I also
Exactly.
usually keep one ear off.
Yeah, exactly.
Too uncomfortable to wank for me. I gotta be comfortable.
But
when
then
I'm
you
wanking,
find out
man.
there's you have a set time where they're not going to be back like 2 hours, and then you just put porn on the HD TV with a surround sound, and then just kick it and just wank as hard as you can.
I couldn't do that. I'd be too paranoid about my neighbours or whatever hearing. Have any of you guys ever had a danger wank?
Yes, I absolutely
Oh,
have.
what?
No, okay, let me tell you what the game of danger wanking is, right? Alright, so you're having a fap. It works if you're with people, if you're living with people who would rather they did see you masturbate to porn, so your parents, I don't know, some friends or whatever. And what you do is when you're about, I don't know, you feel like you're about a minute away from coming, you call out for one of them and say, hey, can you come here? Like, Mum, yeah, I need your help with something. And then you have to finish and put it away before they get to your room. Ever done that?
No.
I have. I admit that I have wholeheartedly done that, but it was when I was waking up, I think, to go to school, like right before that, and I could hear them like walking through the house and getting ready for them to go to work and whatnot. And it wasn't so much that I called out for them, but I knew it was that any time they could come in there and check and see if I was getting ready.
Yeah, I've done that plenty of times.
Well, I mean, I have had sex with my bedroom door open when I was still living with my mom. With Heather, actually, with the bedroom door open. And my bed was right next to the door. So I've done that, but I have never, like, wanked and, like, right before I was about to come, call out for somebody.
Have you?
Because, like, I would be the one who would, like, they would open the door right as I was coming, so I'd, like, have to try and keep a straight face.
You
and I wouldn't be able to do it.
You did, weren't you? Some, like, humiliation fetish of yours.
Please tell me this is... Yeah, no, we are not going to whip it out and have a circle jerk. Let's move off of wanking.
Yeah.
All right.
I actually wrote something this week.
What did you write?
I wrote the article, Grand Theft Changes over at the CFTales.com website. And it was...
What's a rundown?
And it, well, I looked at what's changed between... Because I got into Grand Theft Auto around 3. That was the first Grand Theft Auto I ever saw. And then I bought Vice City and I bought San Andreas and 4 and 5. And there was such a jarring shift between the original ones from 3 and Vice City and San Andreas to 4 that I was wondering kind of what caused the change. And I said that it was the characters. Because I thought that Nico, even though he's a good character in 4, I think he is too good of a character for Grand Theft Auto. He's too well written. Yeah, he's way too well written to be the typical Grand Theft Auto kind of psycho.
He's too human.
Yeah, he's way too human. Versus guys like Tommy Vercetti in 3 and Vice City and CJ in San Andreas, where they were just out and out psychos, and San Andreas was fucking nuts. I'm not even going to deny that. San Andreas is by far the craziest Grand Theft Auto in the series, even against 5, which had some pretty nuts stuff in it.
I felt that they struck a good balance with 5, because that was a lot of people's problems with 4, is that it was too character driven. It didn't feel like you were actually doing the GTA experience. It felt like you were experiencing a story in a way that a lot of people just didn't like. It was something that people hadn't come to expect from Grand Theft Auto.
Right. And I think the thing with San Andreas was, I think people said it had got too crazy because one was you robbed a train and stole a fucking jetpack.
Yeah.
And that was nuts. I mean, that was just out and out crazy. But they wanted to rein it in with 4, and they reined it in too far. Like, Nico just seemed like a guy who just wanted to make it. Like,
he did.
And, you know, and even up back before that, even Tommy Vercetti and CJ were just they wanted to run the town as they wanted to run the criminal underworld. That's all they wanted to do. And they would do anything necessary to do that, which they did.
Yeah, that was kind of the problem. Like, I feel that a lot of people's favorite characters, it seems, it's always the protagonist that they came into the series on. Like, what was GTA 3's main character?
That was Tommy Vercetti as well. They never told it, but the guys at Rockstar said that it was Tommy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. But yeah, with Tommy Vercetti, he was a pretty two-dimensional character. He was just there to make as much money and be as powerful as possible, which was great. But I think it's one of those things, as video games have evolved, we've come to appreciate better writing. But GTA 4's problem seemed to be that the writing was really, really good, but it wasn't good in a way that people that played GTA would appreciate it, you know? Like, it still had all the hallmarks of GTA, like, most of the missions were killing people and driving around cars and chasing and, you know, and all that kind of thing. But, yeah, it never quite had that level of, you're doing this to become a criminal overlord.
Right.
Whereas with 5, I felt it did a really good job of kind of balancing the two, of having good character design and them doing it for their own reasons, which was essentially to make money. But it wasn't about ruling over everybody else necessarily. It was about like the thrill of robbing banks and getting money for who was Franklin. Yeah, Franklin just wanted to get money and kind of get ahead in life because he was in a gang for a long time. It never went well. Franklin
wanted to get out of the which is good. I like the design of Franklin because he was just a kid who lived in the ghettos of downtown Los Santos and just wanted to get out of that, but still keep kind of his ties with his old friends and not forget them. Whereas Michael just wanted to have a stable family life, which really got into the later game and stuff like that because he was living the way Americans typically live. And then you throw in Trevor.
I think, yeah, but Trevor kind of made sense to kind of hit that counterbalance where he was a crazy meth head. However, he wasn't necessarily a character that they wanted to associate themselves with, the other two protagonists.
Yeah.
They were kind of forced to. After you rob your first bank, and that's when Trevor gets introduced. After Michael and Franklin rob their first bank, it was really quite clever. Because you just see the first cutscene of Trevor and he's just banging some meth head woman and watching the TV like over in the corner of a fucking trailer, and he sees the bank heist. He's like, that looks like fucking Mike. I thought he was dead. That motherfucker. I'm gonna go find him.
Yeah. And then he stomps that guy's brains in.
Who was also the main character of one of the GTA 4 fucking expansions, which I didn't even realise at the time, but that was the main character of the Lost and the Damned DLC. They just killed him off quite brutally.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, that character's life cycle's ended.
I
did enjoy Trevor, but the funny thing is I didn't enjoy him as much as I had played with Michael or Franklin, because I thought they felt like better written characters, and even though they were bad guys, I felt like I enjoyed playing with those two more.
Oh, that's fair enough.
Plus Trevor's special was kind of eh.
Yeah, I felt like I played Franklin most of the time because his special was so OP for driving, and driving's a lot of fun in GTA. So you just turn on that slow-mo and all of a sudden you have far more control of your car, and it's like way easier to not wreck a really awesome car.
Oh yeah.
I always quite enjoyed that. Whereas Trevor's was just like a straight damage boost, wasn't it?
Yeah. Also, one of the I think it was a health buff and a damage buff, but at the same time, I also kind of tagged the end of the article with how awesome would it be to see a Grand Theft Auto Max Payne crossover? Just saying.
I felt they've kind of already done that in their own way. Like they've kind of got the bullet time, they've got all the mechanics and stuff. Like it's just kind of in a more subtle way.
Yeah.
Max Payne's a very gritty universe, you know. Like it would feel strange. I think there wouldn't be an easy way of doing it.
There wouldn't be an easy way, but I still think it would be cool to see Max roaming around like Los Santos or somewhere like that, or Vice City and whatnot. Because, funnily enough, when I saw the previews for GTA 5, like the trailers and stuff, I thought it was Vice City.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Michael looked a lot like Tommy if he had gotten older.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And it was
a lot of people kind of thought that, didn't they?
And it was a beach scene that he was kind of first shot at, so I figured, hey, this looks like it could be in Vice City.
Yeah, I really enjoyed everything about GTA 5. I thought they did a really brilliant job. There wasn't a single thing I had an issue with, really.
And then there's
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and there's also the Mount Chiliad conspiracy whatnot, which is kind of cool that people are still trying to dig in and figure out what it means.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. It's a really good game. If anyone hasn't played GTA 5 and they have the means to do so, I definitely recommend it.
Yeah,
I have not. I'm not a GTA fan, to be honest.
then you're just a pleb.
Apparently,
Yeah, you're just a pleb.
I'm a
You
pleb.
don't like robbing banks, driving cars, and being up prostitutes? Seriously?
Yeah, seriously, who wouldn't love that? I mean, genuinely, who wouldn't love that? Just not necessarily because that's one of the funny things that always gets called out on. Oh, you could beat up women and prostitutes. Yeah, but there's repercussions for it. The player's actively discouraged from doing so.
Well, I don't know. Like, you still kind of are encouraged to do so, just because it's like that's a part of the fun is then escaping the police.
Well, yeah, but it's still a risk-reward kind of system. Do I run my car over this crowd of 10 people, run out, pick up their money, and risk the cops coming after me? Or do I just not?
Yeah, but if they were really trying to use that to discourage you, you wouldn't only get 1 star for killing 10 people. You'd
True.
get like 3 or 4.
That's why you get 2 for shooting a cop. They have good weapons usually. They usually have a pistol and maybe some kind of baton or whatnot. But you immediately get 2 stars for shooting a cop.
I thought it was 3.
I thought it was
it's 2. Because the way I seem to remember it is that it's 1 star if you steal a car, and 1 star if you shoot someone, but 2 if you steal a car and then shoot someone. So it's actually better to shoot someone and then steal a car, so you stay on 1 star.
That could be me hearkening back to Vice City mechanics, because Vice City it was you shot a cop, you immediately got 2 stars, but you got their gun and a truncheon.
Yeah, in the other GTAs, I'm pretty sure it's 3. Once you shoot a cop, all bets are off in terms of getting away without much trouble.
Right.
But yeah, I really enjoyed GTA.
Yeah.
I think that's a really interesting article that you did, actually.
Oh, thanks.
I quite enjoyed it, and anyone who's interested in kind of the way characters kind of develop and things like that should definitely read it.
All right, well, with the end of that conversation, I'd say it's time to go to break for a brief few minutes, wouldn't it be, gentlemen? It's a nice end of the convo right there.
Yes.
All right,
Yeah.
we will be back in just a few minutes. I'm going to leave you guys with a song called Deus Ex Siren Synapse from the Synapse track Hong Kong. It's a remix by Jimmy Henson and Alexander Brandon on Overclocked Remix. You can always check those out for remixes of game music and whatnot that you can. So we will be back shortly. Do not go anywhere.
Stay tuned.
I don't understand. What do you want? You're just a machine.
And hello, everybody.
And hello. Once again, we're back.
We are back. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back.
So, what do we got else to talk about tonight?
North Korea. North Korea.
Ah, yes.
Oh, yeah. So I'm guessing everyone's heard about the North Korea controversy, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the film The Interview with Seth Rogen and James Franco has been scrapped since the Sony hacking. Under some people are saying fears that it was North Korea, and they don't want them to release that kind of information. I'm not sure if I believe this or not, but I want to hear your guys' opinions first. What do you think?
I think there was. I was reading something that showed, sort of not definitive, but pretty damning evidence that it is actually the North Korean government, based on the way they did the attack. It's very similar to other attacks that the North Koreans have done. In fact, down to the point where they've used the same exact programs and the same exact backdoors.
Okay.
And
see, it was confirmed as North Korea. I thought so, and I've seen pretty good evidence saying it was.
I've seen some good evidence to the contrary, but Jerry, what do you think?
It sounds like North Korea once again, and I think they're probably, because North Korea does this. Something is going on. North Korea, if there's something going on with the country, North Korea always does something in particular to just garner attention. And they may be wanting something again, so that's why all this happened.
Well, here's the thing. I read an article that was linked on Twitter that I thought was some pretty interesting speculation as to why the Sony hack is unlikely to be the work of North Korea. Shall I read out?
Go ahead.
Yes, do.
Okay. Everyone seems to be eager to pin the blame for the Sony hack on North Korea. However, I think it's unlikely. Here's why. The broken English looks deliberately bad and doesn't exhibit any of the classic comprehension mistakes you actually expect to see in Konglish, i.e., it reads to me like an English speaker pretending to be bad at writing English. 2. The fact that the code was written on a PC with Korean locale and language actually makes it less likely to be North Korea. Not least because they don't speak traditional Korean in North Korea. They speak their own dialect, and traditional Korean is forbidden. This is one of the key things that has made communication with North Korean refugees difficult. I would find the presence of Chinese to be far more plausible. And there's some links to the article. I'll link it for the chat in a minute. This change in language is also most pronounced when it comes to special words, such as technical terms. That's possibly because in South Korea, many of these terms are borrowed from other languages, including English. For example, the Korean word helicopter is helicoptero. The North Koreans, on the other hand, use a literal translation of vehicle that goes straight up after takeoff. This is because such borrowed words are discouraged, if not outright forbidden, in North Korea. 3. It's clear that from the hardcode paths and passwords in the malware that whoever wrote it had extensive knowledge of Sony's internal architecture and access to key passwords. Whilst it's plausible that an attacker could have built up this knowledge over time and then used it to make the malware, Occam's razor suggests that the simpler explanation of an insider, it also fits with a pure revenge tactic that started out as 4. Whoever did it is in it for revenge. The info and access that they had could have easily just been used to cash out, yet instead they are making every effort to burn Sony down. Just think what they could have done with the passwords to all of Sony's financial accounts. With the competitive intelligence in their business documents, from simple theft to the sale of intellectual property or even extortion, the attackers have many ways to become rich, yet instead they chose to dump the data, rendering it useless. Likewise, I find it hard to believe that a nation-state which lives by propaganda would be so willing to just throw away such an unprecedented level of access to the beating heart of Hollywood itself. 5. The attackers only latched onto The Interview after the media did. The film was never mentioned by GOP right at the start of their campaign. It was only after a few people started speculating in the media that this and the communication from DPRK might be linked, that suddenly it became linked. I think the attackers both saw this as an opportunity for lols and as a way to misdirect everyone into thinking it was a nation-state. After all, if everyone believes it's a nation state, then the criminal investigation will likely die. 6. Whoever is doing this is very net and social media savvy. That and the sophistication of the operation do not match that with the profile of DPRK up until now. Gruck did an excellent analysis of this subject and his findings are here. And there's a link to that. 7. Finally, blaming North Korea is the easy way out for a number of folks, including the security vendors at Sony management who are under the microscope for this. Let's face it, most of today's so-called cutting-edge security defenses are either so specific or so brittle that they really don't offer much meaningful protection against a sophisticated attacker or a group of attackers. That doesn't mean that we should let them off and give up every time someone plays the APT or sophisticated attacker card, though. This is a significant area of weakness in the security industry. The truth is we are terrible at protecting against bespoke, unique attacks, let alone true zero days. There is some promising technology out there, but it's clear that it just isn't ready yet. 8. It probably also suits a number of political agendas to have something that justifies saber-rattling at North Korea, which is why I'm not that surprised to see politicians starting to point their fingers at the DPRK also. 9. It's clear from the leaked data that Sony has a culture which doesn't take security very seriously. From plain text password files to using password as the password in business critical certificates, through to just the sheer volume of aging and classified yet highly sensitive data left out in the open. This isn't a simple slip-up or a weak link in the chain. This is a serious organisation-wide failure to implement anything like a reasonable security architecture. 10. Who do I think is behind this? My money is on a disgruntled, possibly ex-employee of Sony. But yes, there's a lot of interesting theories in that. What do you guys think of that?
It's viable. I think it's valid.
I think I think it's valid. However, somebody in chat also made a good point in that you can list any number of reasons something didn't happen. That doesn't mean they're true, right? I think we don't know, I guess, is ultimately what I'm saying. We don't know. Now, the stuff about language, that is interesting to me.
Yeah.
Like, that's interesting.
They also don't use, I'm pretty sure, in North Korea, they don't use Windows at all.
No, they use
have their own operating system. That's sorry, Jerry?
They use a specific version of Linux of a Unix build, and a lot of people don't know this, but it's actually true. North Korea's English isn't that bad. It's actually pretty good because they study it in their state-funded, albeit, but in their university. It's an offered course. If they wanted to make this thing legit, they would have people who know, like they've had people talk to English reporters. And their English is actually pretty good, especially the higher in echelons in government you go. And this wouldn't be something carried out by a low government echelon. This would be carried out by somebody who's very, very high up.
Yeah. And there has been some examples of, different countries hacking other countries' data. There was one with Russia. I'm just trying to find the hacking scandal. It was for a neighbouring country. Oh, fuck. I'm just going to go ahead and try and find this. You guys talk amongst yourselves for a minute.
Sure. Apparently, according to chat, they use OS called Red Star.
Yes,
which is an improved Linux-based operating system. Development started in 2002 at the Korea Computer Center. Prior to its development, computers in North Korea typically used English version of Microsoft Windows.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen what Red Star OS looks like. It's actually on Wikipedia. It looks a lot like a Mac knockoff. I'm not even kidding.
I was just going to say. It looks exactly like a Mac knockoff.
Yeah. But
uses KDE 3 desktop. Ew, KDE.
Yeah, they're very behind the times still. But either way, it still looks, it'd be an easy explanation to say that North Korea did this, but at the same time, it is the stupidest way of doing it because as far as the outside world, North Korea really doesn't care because it's hard to explain, really. They don't give a shit about our movies. They never really have. Like, was there a controversy about North Korea when Team America was a thing?
I don't think so.
Yeah, and that would be the thing that makes sense. If there was a fervor then and there's a fervor now, then yeah, I could probably say it was North Korea. But because this is also a Sony picture and anti-North Korea, well, not even necessarily anti, but just, something slamming North Korea. If there was a controversy by them then, it would make sense for it now. But there wasn't then, so why is there suddenly one now?
Yeah,
Well, they have been getting more and more crazy.
well, the thing is that there have been examples of countries attacking other countries' cyber infrastructure. A good example of this was with Estonia in 2007 with Russia, or at least people believe it was Russia. Essentially, there was a big disagreement between Estonia and Russia about the relocation of the bronze soldier of Tallinn, which is an elaborate Soviet-era grave mark as well as war graves in Tallinn. Most of the attacks that had any influence on the general public were distributed denial of service attacks, DOSes, from single individuals using various methods like ping floods to expensive rentals of botnets, usually for spam, things like that. It was very interesting. They pretty much managed to take the entire fucking country offline in a day. Like, for a day, the entire country's infrastructure was just fucked. The traffic lights weren't working properly, you couldn't access the Parliament's websites, things like that. Completely, everything was shut down for about a day. And people are very convinced that it was at the hands of Russia, and or at least Russia hired hackers. So I do think it is possible that it is North Korea, but at the same time, why? Why would they attack Sony? I don't really think that they would particularly care about the interview, to be honest.
Well, I would say it's North Korea, so why is maybe a stupid question?
Yeah, but they didn't care about Team America at all.
That's a good point. I don't think they did.
And
So
that
why
had,
would they?
and that had someone who was much more respected than Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, I mean,
And
it's pretty much confirmed that Kim Jong-un isn't even actually running North Korea at this point.
Yeah, it's his family and the party officials.
That is true.
And we're off the air in North Korea. Oh, wait.
Is anything on the air in North Korea?
Yes, state
Do they have
mandated.
TVs in North Korea?
They actually do, and they run state-funded programs and state-made cartoons. Like, there are actually
That's
state.
hilarious.
There are state-made cartoons for North Korea. I find that hilarious.
What about how awful America is in comparison and things like that?
One of the ones is you should do math well so the Americans can help. So you can help defeat the American imperialists.
That's what they love to call America. Yeah.
Yeah, imperialists. Granted, and we've never really had a true imperialistic phase. Like, the British, you guys did have an imperialistic phase, as did pretty much all of Europe did back in during the Enlightenment and stuff like that. We never really did. We had one colony.
Too late.
Yeah, we had one colony, and we kind of let that one go, and that was Liberia, and that's it. And hindsight's 2020. I'm glad we kind of let that place go.
So then now, to just follow up on Pigeon, this is from the New York Times. U.S. said to find North Korea ordered cyber attack on Sony. Senior administrator... Oh, actually, I'll start at the beginning. American officials have concluded that North Korea was centrally involved in the hacking of Sony Pictures computers, even as the studio canceled the release of the far-fetched comedy about the assassination of North Korea's leader that is believed to have led to the cyber attack. Senior administration officials who would not speak on the record about the intelligence findings, so it's probably bullshit, said the White House was debating whether to publicly accuse North Korea of what amounts to cyber terrorism attack. Sony capitulated after the hackers threatened additional attacks, perhaps on theaters themselves, if the movie The Interview was released. Officials said it was not clear how the White House would respond. Some within the Obama administration argued that they did not start Ebola, but they were lying. No, sorry. Some within the Obama administration argued that the government of Kim Jong-un must be confronted directly, but that raises questions of what actions the administration could credibly threaten, or how much evidence to make public without revealing details of how it determined North Korea's culpability, including the possible penetration of North Korea's computers networks.
That's the thing. It sounds like a really convenient excuse, doesn't it? Oh, it was North Korea. Like, how much worse would it look for Sony if they were to have said, we might have kind of fucked up. One person was able to kind of do most of this. Our security wasn't really that great. And we're sorry. What would be better for them? Saying that a country, a country had employed or had a very sophisticated group of hackers to go and steal all the information in some kind of act of cyber terrorism, or one disgruntled Sony employee leaking all of it to a hacking group and then just wrecking house with it. What looks worse on Sony?
Well, honest to God, I don't think Sony's security reputation can even get any better because of the incident. I think it was happened last year with the PlayStation Network, when the PlayStation Network got broken into, taken down for, God, it seemed like a month, and then everybody had to change their passwords for everything.
Yeah, but doesn't it seem like it would be kind of putting a nail in the coffin if they were to say, yeah, we don't really know who hacked us, our bad, all of our, Sony's kind of private information got fucking hacked? Like, wouldn't that be kind of a nail in the coffin for them at this point?
Sony's not going anywhere. There is no nail. Sony's not just going to disappear.
No, I'm not saying that they'd die off, but it would definitely hurt them, wouldn't it? And it would hurt their stocks and things if people were to find out you had another hacking again because you guys were incompetent as fuck. Yeah.
It would. Did you stop playing your PlayStation?
No, but think about investors. Like, the thing is, Sony's been running at a loss for so long that most of it's based on good faith, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That is a very good point. They're investors, probably. But then let me ask you this. So, I'm trying to Google the article I had found that had the evidence why it would be North Korea. I can't find it because there's hundreds and hundreds of pages of all these articles saying the U.S. is saying it was most likely North Korea, or at least North Korea had their hand in it. Why would the U.S. government be saying this if people didn't believe it were true? Are you saying Sony paid off Obama?
No, I'm saying that it would be quite a decent act of saber-rattling, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. Like, the entire idea of kind of going, those fucking North Koreans, we need to do something about them. This would be a really good idea. This would be really good for us to link to them so they look like even bigger assholes to kind of get the public's perception of them being incredibly dangerous, even more kind of concrete and kind of put into the public mind.
Here we go. Here's the link. It was on last week's stream lineup. Hold on. I can actually read this now. Ha. I'm looking for just a list of the evidence.
Well, I mean, even in this, I'm looking through the official KCNA, which is the official news organization of North Korea. They haven't said anything about it.
Of course they haven't.
But you think they would take credit for this?
Because, you think? I don't know.
Well, because this is the Korean Central News Agency, which is the one that is state-controlled. If it was something this big, you would think they would be taking credit for it. That's gotten this much news and this much press, and they haven't.
I mean, it's definitely possible. I think that's also quite an interesting thing. Like, why wouldn't they take credit for it? Maybe it would, to be fair though, maybe they wouldn't take credit for it because then China and Russia would get even more pissed off with them. Like, oh, fuck's sake, come on, guys.
Yeah, but
we're trying to buy your shit. Stop making us look like complete assholes.
But then again, they've been putting up with that for years. They've genuinely been putting up with that since the dissolution of the Soviet Union and China kind of getting its rise to power. They've been putting up with this stuff forever, and they're not changing their positions.
Yeah, but I think it would create more headache for them, and I think North Korea would probably be intelligent enough to know that taking direct ownership of it probably wouldn't be beneficial for them. even if they were. Like Russia with Estonia, they never took credit for it. Like pretty much everybody knows it was probably Russia who was behind that.
Probably.
But do you see what I mean? Like, I know, I just thought that was very interesting.
It is interesting, and it's interesting to see. God, no, we can accuse North Korea of saber rattling till we're blue in the face because they probably did it. But at the same time, it's just like, do they really do that? And they do that, but would they do it because of something like this minute? And the answer would probably be no.
Yeah, you'd think that they'd probably. Like, I don't know, personally, if I was North Korea with that GDP, I'd probably sell that information to someone like China. Wouldn't you? Like, all their...
Funny, yeah, but here's the thing. Apparently North Korea uses a lot of Chinese organizations for their hacking. So North Korea apparently has a unit that is much hype within the country called Unit 121. Is that the name of it? Unit 121? I'm trying to find it now. It might be 121 or 1... Yeah, Unit 121. And much of them are apparently Chinese organizations that work with the North Korean government. So, could it have been an insider who then sold the money to North Korea? Would that be more believable?
I mean, it's also possible.
It really is. I mean, it's just... North Korea is probably the oddest bird on the planet because it is so isolated and so... And it's I mean, even the government considers it an absolute intelligence black hole. Because nothing goes in... Because people go in, but info doesn't come out. Nothing that we already don't... nothing that we already don't know about them.
They are very, very... they're very careful with what people outside couldn't find out about North Korea. Like, getting into North Korea in itself is a complete fucking hassle. There is no easy way of getting into North Korea as a non-North Korean.
Have you ever... you've seen... I know you've seen the Vice documentary, Pigeon, but Code, have you seen the Vice documentary about North Korea?
I have not.
To get into North Korea alone, because they went to the... Shane Smith, the owner of Vice, went to South Korea and went to the border and went through all that stuff there. But to actually get into North Korea, they had to go to a particular embassy in the northern part of China. They had to bribe the official, leave their passports there, and then they got woken up at 6 a.m. and at 4 a.m. and then got taken there on the plane.
Yeah, they're secretive. We know. Right? I mean, not to sound like a dick, but they don't want people knowing what they're doing or what they've done.
But they do. That's the funny thing. They want to put up this facade like they're a big tourist destination now. I mean, Iran's trying the same route, but at the same time, it's not really going so well. But they want to put themselves up like they're an international city and that they are a good place for tourists to visit. But they want people to see the facade they put on, but they don't want people to see what's behind the facade. And they will defend to the death that front.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the hotel in North Korea, the gigantic hotel in North Korea.
That was creepy.
Have you ever seen that one?
What, was this in the Vice documentary?
No, this was the one that they are currently constructing, but it was unfinished. Yeah. An Egyptian company actually... they actually contracted an Egyptian company out to finish it.
Okay.
Because the country was running out of funds to pay for it, and they were running out of concrete and steel to build it. And this fucker is gigantic. It's actually a beautiful hotel, but it's just kind of creepy because there may be all of 5 to 10 people in that hotel.
It's kind of a ghost town, yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean it's Pyongyang. Pyongyang is itself a ghost town.
Yeah, and also just the things like in the Vice documentary, seeing the whole, like the banquet hall where they had stuff to eat in, the Vice crew. It was like this huge fucking hall with all these tables and all these little plates of food and like this huge beautiful mural that was done, like painted onto the wall. Really gorgeous place. Yet they were the only fucking people in there. And there was food on every other table, like all these tiny plates of food, but lots of them to make it look like they have lots of food. And Shane actually said that they actually saw as that they were leaving, that they'd wrap the food on the other tables back up to be prepared to be put out for the next day.
Yep. Yeah, because they want to put out the facade of they have a lot of food.
Yeah, exactly. And apparently the food tastes like shit there.
Yeah.
Because
According to him,
just tastes like matter.
Yeah, it has no taste. And if you actually look at a lot of the North Korean like delicacy food from their website, it actually looks kind of tasty, but then someone actually has it and it's like, nah, this is shit.
Yeah, it's very fucked up. Isn't that also why a lot of North Koreans are quite short? It's because of the just huge amount of malnutrition that goes on within North Korea?
Because of the flood. The country got flooded in the 90s and it caused a famine.
Yeah. Which they still don't really want to admit. Like, that's the great thing about North Korea, is they never want to... They always try their best to not look retarded and end up making themselves look even more retarded. Like, you get African countries, and they're just like, yeah, shit's fucked, man. we fucked up. We can't do this shit. I just get paid a few million, and I own half a fucking, 100 acres of, bliss, whilst everyone else is living in shit. You guys should really send some aid here. Whereas with North Korea, they're like, no, we're self-sufficient. We can do everything ourselves. It's fine. And then you just look inside, and everything's just like the electricity isn't available in half of fucking North Korea. There's 2 cars that go by every hour on the roads.
Have you ever seen I can't think of the actual name of it, but the propaganda village at at the border?
Yes.
It is crazy. Cody, have you ever heard of that?
No, I have not.
There is a village at the border, or at least like a mile away from the border of South Korea, the North Korea-South Korea border, that it's a lot of fancy buildings, and I think it's the the biggest freestanding flagpole in the world. And, well, with that, there is nobody living there. They have it wired up for electricity, but just enough electricity to make it seem like there's people living there. But other than that, there's a skeleton crew that lives there that keeps the place clean, and nobody stays there.
It's just so
awesome.
creepy.
You know what North Korea reminds me of, though? To go back to something Pigeon said about, oh no, we're fine, when they're not. They remind me of my daughter trying to, get her chocolate milk out of the fridge. And she's too short to reach it, but she really believes she can do it herself. So she pulls stuff over and tries to climb on it and falls down and knocks everything out of the fridge. And you go, hey, Kayla, can I help you? No, I got it, Daddy. Daddy, I'm good. I got it. I can do it, Daddy. Daddy, I can do it. And by the time she's done, the kitchen's destroyed, chocolate milk's everywhere. The cake that you had in there is all over her. But she got her chocolate milk. You know what I mean? She finally got the container and is drinking out of it. That's North Korea.
North Korea, the world's unruly daughter.
I love what Archer said about North Korea, the show Archer. If anyone here hasn't seen that show, what the fuck is wrong with you?
It's brilliant.
I love what Archer says about North Korea, though. Relax, it's North Korea, the nation-state equivalent of the short bus. It's pretty much true, though. Right?
Have you ever seen some of the other news articles that came out of there? One of the more famous ones that's fairly recent, because they actually put a satellite into space, but it broke. North Korea sends first man to sun.
What?
Yeah, they. Let me look up and make sure that is real, because I want to make sure that is a real thing.
That can't be. No one's that retarded.
North Korea sends man to the sun. This is from KTAR.
I think it's false.
Yeah, that sounds like... I'm pretty sure that I know the North Koreans are very indoctrinated and stuff, like the general populace. They don't have much of a choice.
Most of them don't know that man has landed on the moon.
Yeah, but, surely even with them, they probably go, you're sending a man to the big ball of fire?
It's a big report that went viral.
Oh, that makes sense. Wasn't there that hilarious example in North Korea, by the way, of, was it in the World Cup or something? It was a soccer game, and the North Koreans absolutely wrecked their opponents in one round. And so the North Korean officials were like, this is fucking awesome, this looks so good on us, let's put the next one live on TV. and they put the next one live on TV, and they got absolutely fucking shit canned by the enemy team.
That's awesome. Good for them. They deserve it. They should get shit canned all the fucking time.
I'm pretty sure that after that, though, I'm pretty sure the coach either went missing for the North Korean team, or he got seriously reprimanded.
God almighty.
So Jerry, did you put up the broadcast for the free game?
I did. It is actually in there.
I don't see it on the stream, so I don't know where it's
it says giveaway running right here on the dashboard for me. So yes, and I put the exact text of your tweet in there. It says, "Come on, you dweebs, get us to 16 plus viewers, and we'll give a random listener a free Steam game."
Yeah, and I don't know why I don't see that being advertised, but whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I could see that either.
That's weird.
It could have been just advertised through the Twitter feed, but I don't know.
That is strange.
But yes, we are giving away a free Steam game tonight as well. Code has oodles of money. He is a cis white male, therefore he has loads of money because of the patriarchy. But we have a free Steam game to give away. So if you can get us to 16 or more viewers, and we can watch these numbers, someone will get a free Steam game. Code has money that burns hole in his fucking pop.
Yeah, Code's giving away a game. Yeah, no, he totally is. Euro Truck Simulator, I believe it is,
yes.
Isn't it, Code?
Euro Truck
Nope, it's a random game.
Give me
random game.
Give me Euro Truck Simulator. That's a good game.
Nope, random. I'm not going to tell him what it is. I'm going to get to choose. I'm going to get to choose. Hey, it's my fucking money. I get to choose.
It has to be something good though. Just make it something not bad, not something awful.
I'm not going to give him. I'm not going to give him Fez. Okay? Maybe Depression Quest, but not Fez.
Code, I have one.
What?
Xenonauts.
Xenonauts is a good choice. I was actually thinking Civ Beyond Earth, but
I'd say save a big prize like that for a bigger stream, like probably next Tuesday.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It. Hatred, I would, but Hatred's not even greenlit yet, so.
No, it's greenlighted now. Well, it's on greenlight now, so.
Oh, yeah, that's a brilliant transition, actually.
Yes, it is.
So, Hatred. Has anyone been keeping up to date with the Hatred news?
Yes, and I would, at this point, I would suck Gabe N off. Why? Because I get the feeling somebody went, not behind his back, but Gabe basically said they did this without me knowing. So either it was somebody thinking they were doing the right thing, or somebody just being an asshole. But I love that, according to the developers, Gabe reached out to him and basically said, it's not our stance to take moral positions on video games, you're back on greenlight. And I think that's fucking brilliant. That is 100% the right choice.
Yeah, I do too.
Mm-hmm.
Hatred itself doesn't look like it'll be that great of a game. It looks like it's just more of a general fuck you to people, more than anything. But, yeah, I do think it's silly that people get so easily offended when it comes to video games. People have been reprimanded for all sorts of shit. Like, a lot of it kind of harkens back to the Columbine shooting, like this specific example.
Postal and Doom and whatnot.
No, yeah, but what was it? There's a big thing where when I was in high school, I actually recreated in the Left 4 Dead engine. I actually made my high school into a Left 4 Dead map, and I actually found out. Like, I googled and like I was just generally like doing research if anyone had ever done anything similar, and it turns out they had. But you do not want that being linked back to you.
No, you
will get into trouble.
And yet, the guy who made JFK Reloaded is displaying it proudly at a Digra conference.
Yep.
What's JFK Reloaded?
JFK Reloaded is you take the shot at JFK as he's driving through Dealey Plaza.
That's more of like a historical moment. Like, I kind of get the concept of like it feels like the entire point of they don't want people shooting people in schools because they're scared that it's somehow going to translate to people actually getting shot in schools. I mean, it's a ridiculous premise, and I feel like a lot of it is just the fear-mongering that was kind of left after things like the Columbine shootings. Because when the Columbine shooters, weren't they avid Doom players or something?
Yeah, they were avid avid Doom players, yeah. And everybody immediately jumped on the bandwagon of let's blame Doom, let's blame the original Postal.
Yeah, and that's how ambulance chasers like Jack Thompson kind of got famous, wasn't it?
Yeah, but they were also avid Marilyn Manson listeners, so they tried blaming Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, fuck off. If they're listening to my music and they're too stupid to realize it's just music and doesn't mean to kill people, they can fuck off. You know what I mean? Like, that was basically his response.
And if video games inspire violence, then why has violence over the past 2 decades gone down?
Yeah, because music's gotten a lot more. I know, edgy is probably one way of saying
it's gotten a lot more placid, actually.
Really?
Like, what's popular has gotten a lot more placid over the past few decades.
Popular, but like in terms of access to music, like you have your Cannibal Corpse and things like that. Like, I'm 100% sure that there are actually Cannibal Corpse songs such as Stripped, Raped and Strangled and Fucked with a Knife and let me look at my iTunes library and find some of them.
But at the same time, they're not necessarily the they're not the pop side of music.
Sure, but they are still very popular, you know?
True. They're Cannibal Corpse is a great metal band. I'm not going to deny that.
But yeah, they're very much like music has been pretty violent. But didn't Marilyn Manson say in the Bowling for Columbine documentary? Didn't they? Did Michael Moore ask him if you could say something to the two Columbine shooters if they were here today? What would you say to me? He said, "I wouldn't say anything at all. I'd listen to what they had to say because that's the thing that nobody did."
True,
and he's right. Mm-hmm. The thing about Marilyn Manson that so few people seem to miss is the dude is fucking brilliant. What he is on stage is not who he is at all, right? Like, I don't want to say he's Christian, but he comes across as like a good Catholic boy. You know what I mean? He's a fucking brilliant person.
I'm pretty sure he identifies as he's a Baptist, yeah, but on stage his persona identifies as a Satanist.
Yes, exactly, on stage. And he's fucking brilliant, right? And he's absolutely right. You know what I mean? He threw it back on everybody else and said, "You're blaming me because they listen to me. Did anybody listen to these kids?" And I mean, that's like the best response ever. You know what I mean? That's the best way to say "fuck you." Go, stop blaming me. Maybe you should blame yourself. Maybe you should have listened to them when they said they needed help. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's more of the idea that it's more of a mental health issue than blaming it on some kind of fucking popular media, art, music, television, video games, whatever. It's always ridiculous. Surely if violence was the most fucked up thing, like if we were so easy to inculcate violence that we saw, then why was it like with the Romans and stuff? Why was gladiator fucking matches so insanely popular? Like, surely they'd just be like, oh, people are going to be killing each other after this match, after literally watching guys die. Surely they'd be going, oh, well, people are going to go fuck each other up afterwards, we should really not do this. No, that never happened.
Spartacus versus Gladiator riot in the streets.
Yeah.
I would pay to see if that... I would actually like to know if there were riots after a gladiator didn't win. I think that would be hilarious. Because, I mean... you're from the UK, you get to see, I know it's most of the hooligans, but you get to see soccer riots and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're retarded. They're so retarded.
But imagine that in the days of Rome, with gladiators going in, and the one that most people would wanted to win didn't win. How would a gladiator riot go? Just people with swords running through the streets, chopping the heads off people. Somebody out there knocking over storefronts and just,
I don't know. It's weird. I think that was kind of part of the deterrent, though, is that you wouldn't do that because otherwise you'd end up as one of the fucking prisoners in a gladiator match who's had their arms broken to be free kills with the gladiators.
True. Or thrown to the lions. Either way.
Yeah, that was really popular, wasn't it? Like, in gladiator matches, prisoners and, criminals, they had their arms broken.
Yeah,
so they couldn't do anything, and they were just kind of like, alright, off you pop. Against this gladiator, let's see how you do.
Yeah, real life training dummies. Hey.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, very interesting stuff. But I think we've kind of gotten off topic a little bit. But what?
Yeah, we definitely have.
Oh yeah, no, that's something I wanted to talk about actually. Payday 2's had another update this week. The Diamond Heist DLC. And it's kind of made a pretty big discussion on what DLC is and isn't acceptable. For anyone that isn't aware, Payday 2 is pretty much like a bank robbing, kind of a first-person shooter co-op game where you rob banks and do general criminal activities. There's a lot of shooting of police officers and things like that. They've been releasing content for it pretty much, I think it's every 4 to 6, like one new heist every 4 to 6 months since its release. And they recently did another one that everyone got for free called Hoxton Breakout, which was really good.
Yeah.
But they released a paid-for DLC, which it isn't the first, but they released The Diamond Heist, which is like the stereotypical, you're going to get a really super valuable diamond and it's behind all sorts of layers of security and stuff. The heist is, I believe, like £5, so I think it's like $6.99 or something.
It's $7.99 US because I bought it yesterday.
Yeah, but the point of contention.
As I said, because I bought it and Clover as well. So and I paid like $10. And I think Clover was $4.99.
Yeah, and that's what I actually was going to get to. Is Clover is a character that also got released for Payday, and she's the first female heister, and she's Irish. However, she didn't come bundled in with the Diamond Heist pack. She came in as a separate thing that came out at the same time. All you got for buying Clover, you got a gun for buying Clover, a British bullpup gun of some sort, and you also got a Jerry, your fucking chair.
So I got it.
And you also got you got a new mask. You got her character. She doesn't have a skill tree though. She has a perk deck, which is kind of similar, but not really the same thing whatsoever. She was cheaper than the heist itself, but a lot of people were kind of disappointed to see that she wasn't her own, like she wasn't included in the map.
Yeah,
what do you think about that, Jerry?
Because I mean, yeah, that was the disappointing thing. Because a perk deck is one thing. I'm fine with them coming out with a perk deck, but at least have a skill tree. Because even Hoxton came with the fugitive skill tree. I am glad they released John Wick as free as well. I believe.
Yeah, they
just as a promotion for the movie John Wick, which was actually kind of cool. I didn't think they would want to associate with that, just because I need to see that movie just because it's a Keanu Reeves action movie, and I'm interested in seeing it. But I think they should have definitely included her with the Diamond Heist.
Yeah, I'll admit I bought both at full price, simply because I played so much fucking Payday.
You are autistic as fuck at Payday.
Hey, you're just terrible at Payday. There's a difference.
Yeah, but I made it to level 74.
Sorry?
Yeah, but I at least made it to level 74 on my own.
Yeah, well, I made it to level fucking 100 on my own, so suck my dick.
I'll be there soon.
Yeah, not Infamy level 100, right? Huh?
Yeah.
Infamy 3 level 100, yeah?
Oh, shut up. Yeah. I do actually have some Infamy items, though.
Yeah, but the thing is, no, you've got some infamous items, they're just rare items. But the thing is that kind of got me to thinking with the DLC, what is a decent price point for games to be releasing DLC, and how much content should it be giving you for that price point? Like, for example, do you prefer the days of kind of more old school things like expansion packs where they cost like half of a normal game? They were the same game, but with like an entire new story or campaign or what have you, or do you prefer like the incremental DLCs where you buy bite-sized portions for a fraction of the price?
I like the idea of both, but I don't think anybody has struck the balance of making it good, because I think one of the best examples of this was Mass Effect 3's Citadel DLC. It was
okay.
I think it was like $15, so it was priced pretty well. You got a new area to play in, and you got a new series of levels, along with another war asset boost, I think. And all of that kind of meshed together really well, and it added a part to the story that you didn't see, and it actually made the characters more endearing. You know, it made you more endearing to, it made you endear more to people like Shepard or Liara or Tali or whoever, because you got to see the characters portrayed as real characters. I don't mind the way Payday does it. I wish that I think they've got the right price for their level pack DLC. I just wish they dropped the price of characters. Like Clover was way too fucking expensive. That should have been at least $1 at the $1.99 at the most.
How much was she?
She was $4.99.
But why? I mean, they said on Steam, I believe, the developers, that voice actors are expensive.
Which
Voice
is true.
actors are fucking expensive. I don't know how much rigging and all that had to go on with the character. I don't know how much customization there is in Payday 2. I haven't played it yet, and things like that. But if it was always male characters and now there's a playable female, that like their armor can change, their masks can change.
To be
blah.
quite honest, you don't see that. The only thing you genuinely see playing as her is her hands, yes, but as another player you would see her character model, but I don't think the movements would be that different. They just need to just have someone in a mocap suit for maybe a couple of hours and re-articulate how her movements are. That being said, there's not that many lines. Payday characters don't speak pretty much hardly at all.
I wouldn't say that, but the thing that I thought was, I've only played like one match as Clover, but it didn't feel like she had a huge amount of voice acting. That was kind of the thing that I thought was a bit strange, is she does speak, and her voice acting isn't awful, it's just different. It's kind of one of those things where you kind of get really used to all the other characters, so a new one is just really foreign to you. They did actually try to get Keanu Reeves to do John Wick, but for whatever reason, apparently he wasn't interested. So John Wick's character is a bit weird in terms of his voice acting. But I don't know, in general I think I'm happy with the DLC, but it just kind of brings up that discussion with like what is fair DLC and what is unfair in terms of pricing. Like Code, what would you say, for example, what game has a brilliant set of DLC that you would happily buy over and over again if you could?
What game has a brilliant set of DLC I would buy? That's a very good question. That is a very fucking good question. I'm having a hard time thinking of anything, because, like, there's never DLC that is required. You know what I mean?
And that's the beauty of it. It's that you don't... DLC is not required. You can choose to buy it or not, but with Payday, you almost need to buy it.
I don't think that's necessarily true.
Not necessarily. You know, it's not absolutely 100% necessary, no, but it will affect the quality of the game for you if you don't. It will definitely impact the quality of the game.
Well, I think it depends on the DLCs, because the weapon ones, I think, is true. There isn't necessarily better weapons, but there's weapons that you might have more fun with that you don't have access to. But the thing that I do like is, I think it is really cool that only one person needs to own like a map DLC in order for you and all your friends to play it together. They don't have to actually own it. They can play it as long as you own it and you're hosting the lobby.
That's actually kind of cool. I never knew that.
Yeah, and the sniper rifles, they're pretty necessary. I mean, you don't need them, but they're really good to have. The grenade launcher, I'd say, is actually pretty fucking bad. I'd probably say it's, for the most part, a waste of a slot. It's pretty much unusable in Death Wish, as way too low of a damage, and yeah, the stun's nice, but you have like 7 fucking bullets with it. You know, it's just not really worth it. But I think one of the things, though, one of the balances they've tried to strike with Clover is they probably would have added another skill tree, I think. But I think the reason they didn't is they didn't want people to get upset at you having to buy a character that then unlocks a separate skill tree. Like, people would say that that's pay to win. Whereas if she doesn't, people can't complain that it's pay to win, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I get that.
Yeah, I know. Like, it's quite interesting. Hoxton himself, they did a brilliant job with him. They've done a great job with releasing DLC for free for a long time as well. They got the Hoxton character, they got the actual voice actor for old Hoxton back. They released a really good 2-day heist. They released a lot of cool little things during the hype week of Hoxton's release. I think they did a great job with that. And that's a lot to do for something that's free, you know. Like, that requires them getting the voice actor in, and they're in Sweden, and he's in England. They have to fly him over, they have to pay for his time. And then they have to create that heist, and doing a 2-day heist isn't free. They have to spend money in order to kind of make that content. So I do think that is pretty fair in terms of price pointing, like every once in a while releasing a cool DLC that you have to pay for. But it doesn't necessarily mean you have to buy it. It would just be more convenient for you if you wanted to play it on your own,
I'm looking through my list of games on Steam, and I guess I would say the ones I would buy over and over again would be XCOM, Enemy, whatever that expansion's called.
Enemy Unknown.
Enemies Within.
No, it's Enemy Within, maybe. No.
Is there DLC?
Yeah, it's
expansion.
Expansion/DLC.
That one I would buy over and over again. Totally. I want to say Sins of a Solar Empire, but those are also mostly not
Expansion
DLC.
pack like.
Yeah, they're not DLC.
Like Entrenchment and stuff like that, yeah.
So I don't really know. Well, for DLC, I mean, I'm having a hard time finding one that I would have to buy.
Honestly, BioShock Burial at Sea Infinite.
Aren't those episodic as well?
Don't
you have to buy multiple ones?
It's 2 episodes, but those are absolutely worth it. The Horde mode was absolutely not worth it, but the Burial at Sea was totally worth it. It was worth the price, and it was worth the amount of work that Irrational put into it.
Oh, interesting. I seem to buy the expansion pack DLCs a lot more. Except with Payday, I generally love all or most of the DLC that they put out. I usually buy it pretty much immediately. Minerva's Den from Bioshock 2. No, I haven't played that. I've heard it was brilliant as well. The Bioshock 2 DLC, Minerva's Den. Did anyone else play that?
No.
Oh,
No, I
and that's
didn't.
actually a good segue. What is some of the worst examples of the DLC that was totally not fucking worth it that you've ever seen that you would never buy? Not
What?
even with stolen money.
Okay, are mobile games exempt from this?
Yes, of course.
Damn it, because I had some really good ones. Let me take a look at my Steam library right quick. I could probably find you something. If Steam will restart.
Borderlands 2, and I forget what it was called now. Borderlands 2 had a terrible DLC that I absolutely hated.
I would say Euro Truck Sims Paint Job DLC. Those are a thing, and yes, they are the stupidest thing ever. You're paying $1.99 for a paint job, and that's it. There's no expansions to the game. There's nothing. It's just a paint job for your truck.
Womp womp.
I fucking hate. Why do you always make me put my birthday in? You know it. Fuck you, Steam.
I'm just trying to. There's been a lot of really awful DLC that I would never buy. Really egregious examples of this. Dragon Age Origins did a really bad job with their DLC. They just straight up cut out episodes, like certain quests from the game, and you'd get to that point in the game and you'd be like, oh cool, a side quest. Oh, you can't pick this up unless you buy this DLC. Well, fuck you. It was obviously just cut out and then, made to be charged for, and I always thought that was ridiculous.
Yeah, I could see that, and that is actually kind of fucking stupid. What else is some of the worst ones?
Any of the ones that... Actually, this is not true, because I like some of the ones that give you costumes and all. But I know there are some Tales games, and there's a lot of RPGs, newer RPGs, where you can buy a DLC that gives you money, or gives you items to, materials to craft stuff and shit.
Yeah.
Like that. I hate that.
I got that by just by accident with Deus Ex Human Revolution when that was released. I remember I just started the game and it was like, you have 2 DLCs installed for pre-ordering, and I was like, do I? And it was like, you get a free shotgun, a free signed sniper rifle with 10,000 credits. And I'm just like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Okay. Here's a beef that I have. And I've had this since Medal of Honor on PlayStation 3 when they did the remake. There was... if you pre-ordered Medal of Honor at GameStop, you got a free gun, which is the MP7. The MP7 is a very accurate and very fast-firing weapon. Now, I have no problem with them using it in-game. The problem is that you could use it in multiplayer, and not only could you use it in multiplayer, it was unavailable to everyone else.
That sucks.
And it was such a good weapon that as soon as you saw that someone was using it, you were done. You were pretty much, you're dead.
Wow. What game was this?
Medal of Honor, the most recent release. Not Warfighter, but the one before that.
I think I know the one you mean. Oh, Jesus. But yeah, do we have anything else to talk about, or is it time to call it a stream?
Well, it's probably, given the time, it's probably the time to call it a stream.
Yeah.
Nobody got us to 16 and nobody got us 10 follows, so fuck you guys, I'm not giving you a game.
Maybe for next Tuesday we'll say that.
Much love, yeah.
Okay.
Much love going around in here.
So that is it for the stream. Everybody remember, since we're on Hitbox now, you can hit the follow button right over there and follow us. The chat will be persistent, so you can pretty much chat even when we're offline. Some of us may even pop by to talk and whatnot on occasion. You can follow us on Twitter. Our handles are over there in the sidebar. But
there is also at CFKLCV.
Yep.
You don't have to follow that really, but I mean you can. We'll end up using it for stream stuff rather than the hashtag.
Yeah,
most likely.
And in the chat, you can actually tweet directly to it if you so choose to get questions to us, and one of us will answer it. But as far as that goes, that's it. So good night.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. And,
yes, thanks for coming by on the Unplanned Thursday and the new format, which is Hitbox. For now, we'll see how much we like it.
All right, we will see you guys later.
Tuesday, remember Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Before we cut out, I do want to remind everybody, we'll be streaming 3 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday with Ellie Kreisman. We can't do Wednesday, it's Christmas Eve, I got family, and we're doing 3 p.m. instead of 8:30 because Ellie is in the UK, and most Brit bongs are not as stupid as Pigeon, and they don't stay up until the middle of the night.
Yep.
And that is going to be it for us. All right.
See you guys. Thank you.
Tonight's closing track is from Overclock Remix, as well as Pokemon Gold Version's Champions Horizon, the Route 26 soundtrack by Will Rock from Overclock Remix. Get all your game remixes and music right there from OC Remix. And we will see you guys later.